Thank you all for joining us today here at D.Labs. I hope you like their office space. I think it's gorgeous, especially with the views. So first, let me thank Dylan and the rest of D.Labs gang for hosting us today. We hope to have each product tank a different location. So if somebody is willing to host it next time, please approach either me or Daniela, and we will be more than willing to accept suggestions. If you have some fancy offices that you want to show off, that would be awesome. Okay, I see some people are joining still, which is great. So, yeah, today's topic is mysteries of product marketing. Up to recently, I've been heading product at Zamanta. So for several years, I've been banging my head how to efficiently communicate all the great products that our engineers were developing to our prospective customers, how to train them to use the products, how to train salespeople to efficiently sell the products. And I must say that after 3 years of hard work, it's still a big mystery to me. So I know very well how to handle engineers, but how to handle salespeople, how to handle cultural differences, how to understand target customers, and how to efficiently gather feedback from the market is still eluding me. So I hope to get some nice insights from our two distinguished guests today, which have plenty of experience in this regard. So I'll first introduce Marko Vrbnjak, who is heading product marketing at NiceLabel. I hope you all heard about NiceLabel because it's one of the best companies in Slovenia. They were second in this competition of fast-growing companies, Gazela, organized by Dnevnik last year. And I think there are now 120 people or something like that.
For now we're 100, but
100,
by the end of the year we'll
doing really good money, selling labeling software to the enterprises throughout the world. So their big market is Europe, of course, but they're also big in the States and throughout the world. So they are one of the market leaders. It's a niche market, so they're not like a $1 billion company yet, but on a very good way to get there. So Marko was first a product manager at NiceLabel, taking care of the product itself, but he has recently moved into the product marketing manager position. So he's now in charge to basically get to the market that beloved product that he helped shape while being a product manager. So that was Marko. Our other guest is Jure Šumi from Knauf. I'm sure I don't need to introduce Knauf in any way. It's a household name here in Slovenia. So I just, like 2 weeks ago, I had a Knauf wall set up at my apartment. So everybody know Knauf, but you probably don't know that Knauf has close to 500 people employed in Slovenia, and that actually 2 divisions of Knauf have their headquarters here in Slovenia, actually in Škofja Loka. So Jure was head of marketing at one of these divisions. The division is about original equipment manufacturer, and recently they made a spin-off out of this bigger division, and the spin-off is about green technologies. So in essence, they want to build green rooftops and other interesting things. And Jure is actually the head of this division. He said before that it's kind of a startup within a big company. So I think he can share with us a lot of experience how Knauf penetrated and become de facto market leader, and also his recent experience of product development within a big company and how to set up a new division. So I'm very much looking forward to this discussion, which will be led by Daniela. Daniela she's coming from Serbia originally, but she spent many years in the States where she learned the trade of product management, and she recently has joined D.Labs, and it's a great addition to our community and also a co-organizer of this event. So without any further ado, fire it away, Daniela.
Thank you, Dusan. I just want to share a couple of rules with you. One is we'll speak loudly, but in case someone doesn't hear us, please raise your hand and don't hold back and tell us about it, and then we'll try to bring it up a notch. I will ask a question, and then I will address it to either Marko or Jure. They'll take turns and answer it. And you're welcome to ask questions at any given time, of course without interrupting if someone's in the middle of asking a question or answering. But what we hope to get from you is your engagement, and that really shows us if this event is successful or not. So please feel free at any given time. If you're inspired by something, if you've heard something that you need more elaborate answer on it, feel free to interrupt. We will not wait until the very end to ask you to ask questions. So we'll try to keep it brief and open up lots of different topics. And then we'll have a little gathering after here, and you can continue to talk to any of us on any of these topics. So just out of curiosity, if you can raise your hand if you're actually a product marketing manager, if you're in product marketing or sales, just so we kind of get the feeling of what sort of audience we have. Okay, and how many of you are developers? Any sort of product developer, designer? Raise your hand on that. Okay, cool. Do we need to know anything else about our audience? Developers,
just maybe how many people come from a startup, perhaps?
Startup?
Because that's where you expect the most
Okay.
sense. Okay.
Cool. Thank you. So because we have diverse audience, I would ask you first to tell us a little bit about your company and how it's structured, what sort of teams you have. So for example, you have marketing and sales together, or is it two very separate teams, and then there's development, and how do you talk to each other? Who makes decisions? Who leads the new generation features? Marko, would you like to?
Sure. So very briefly about the company. The company it's a software company. It's 25 years old, and so as Dusan already mentioned, it's a pretty small market. So we estimate the whole market to be about $100 million, so we're actually we're one of the big players, but we're still not the biggest. But we plan to be in a couple of years' time. And how we're structured is also we were changing our structure quite a bit over the past years, but now we're setting a pretty firm and clear structure, whereas development, sales and marketing, and then operations and finance. So also in the sales and marketing, we have sales, so in-field sales, inside sales, product management and marketing, and so these teams kind of like try to work together as much as possible, but of course also with developers, the main point of contact is product management, and product marketing is somewhere in between, but I guess the product management is actually the center of everything between the customers, developers, and sales and marketing.
And Jure, for you?
Yeah, for me, when I joined Knauf, this was 6 years ago, Knauf Insulation. This used to be old thermo company in Skopje producing mineral wool insulation. So when I came on board, it was basically, the company was very much product driven or production driven. So the development was part of product development was part of the sales, and marketing was basically printing catalogs. So maybe a bit more still marketing communication, but it was sort of something that we were asked to change. So my boss, who is now also a member of the Knauf Insulation board, he joined 7 years ago. I joined 6.5 years ago. So basically, immediately what we did, we said, okay, it needs to be a commercial guy, a commercial director who runs the sales, and there needs to be marketing who runs the marketing in a broader sense, including product development. So this was the first step we had to do, so to, let's say, to not to take away the product development from sales, but you put it under the marketing, because then you don't look just on the things that sales need at this moment, but then you also look at what are the trends in the future, what kind of product we need to develop, what are really the pains of the customers, how we can be better than the competition. So this was basically a split that we did. So one of the things we also do, so the company of the colleague, they were this year the silver gazelle. We were 2 years ago the golden gazelle in Slovenia, and despite we were a 60 million company, we became 100 million in 3 years, mainly due to the fact that we were looking into the marketing and how to market the products on a different way. So this was really, for us, it was a lot of work, a lot of initiatives, a lot of things we had to do, a lot of changes. Initially, of course, with some resistance. I mean, nobody wants to change if it's not necessary, but we did it. And then in 3 years or 4 years of development, we came to the new product line, or the new products which were not insulation or not meant for the industry. So we went into the new division which is called Green Solutions, which was established 2 years ago. And we sell now the materials which are meant for growing plants, whether on the walls, on the roofs, in the greenhouses. So totally away from original business of Knauf. So it's really a spin-off where when we started, we didn't know anything about what we want to sell, or we knew that it's a good product because we got confirmation from some clients. But let's say in the past 2 years or 2.5 years, we know much more. So we were already establishing pretty nice brands in some of the countries. So this is sort of an overview what we are doing. Quite challenging, but also really fun.
So you opened up a really interesting idea. So, and this is sort of a good second question. How does marketing and sales work together, and how they drive this change, essentially? What makes them successful? What brings success to the products? So if you can continue on that
maybe
path.
One of the things which was really a problem is that the product developers are usually technical people. So they develop a product which they think it's really the best in terms of the performance. But then you go to the customer, and the customer says, okay, well, what can you offer? What's new? Why this product is better for me? And then they usually have it's because of that and that and that. And the customer says, yeah, but I don't need that. So in the past, they were developing products which were, where you compare what the customer wants. You know, these are the needs of the customer, and these are the needs in some aspects of our product, or the requirements or the product performances. So customer wanted this. Somewhere we were this high, so too good, and somewhere we were totally down. So we had to match this with the customer expectation, because either the product was too engineered or was not bringing let's say, the requirement that customer wants. So the importance is that technical people need to go to the market, to the customer with the sales guy or with a segment manager. They should not be called just a technical developer. They need to be a product and application development. They need to know an application. They need to know what the customer wants. They need to talk to the customer. They never believe the sales guys. They will always say, hey, sales guys, he wants to have something to sell, but we know better, so we will develop the product which is the best. It's not necessary to be the best. It needs to be good in certain aspects and just good enough in the other. And you need to match this. So the sales and marketing and development should be in the market. They need to work together. So we always go together to the meetings. We always go together to to the technical meetings at the customer, to the purchasing guy, to the application guys at the customer. So this is really important to do. If you don't do that, then you don't know what the customer wants, then you over-engineer. You do the products that cannot be applicable. You do too heavy products, too light products, not performing products. So you miss a lot of things if you don't understand the market and the customer. So this is basically my point of view.
Very good. And Marko, you have...
Yeah, I would agree with that a lot also. I mean, when I joined this company, it's now almost 10 years ago, and we were pretty much an engineering-driven company, you know, and we thought we had and we still have awesome engineers, and they made some, you know, innovative features, and et cetera, but nobody knew how to sell that to the customers. You know, we developed this new thing, nobody else had it on the market, and we went to an exhibition and we tell our partners what it is about, and they're like, sounds cool, but I have no idea why and where would I use it. And we're like, well, damn, you know, that's not so good. We eventually found some use cases with major modifications of that product, but it's kind of like this happens very often when you just tell developers, here's, you know, just do something, and they make things that are really great, but nobody needs them. So again, you have to go to the market, and I agree with Jure, you know, it's great that technical people go to the market as well, but I think it should be owned by marketing, because also if you just ask the salespeople, you know, what does the market need? They will tell you what the last customer needs, or, you know, the last deal that they lost against the competitor, and they'll be like, oh, they have this feature and we just need this feature, and then, you know, the gold will start dropping from the sky. So, and marketing should have this overview of seeing patterns, you know, reading between the lines, and not just like, okay, now I need to close the sale. And, you know, so sales have their special mentality, which is great for what they do. But marketing needs to have this overview, and also seeing the market and then segmenting the market, etc. So yeah. I think this part is really important, and why marketing is a strategic function in the company. And yeah, also, you know, until probably like 7 years ago, our marketing was also Marcoms, you know, pens and mugs and brochures, and they had no idea what the development was producing. It was
like. So we briefly met a few nights ago and had a really great conversation about all of this, and I went home inspired, and I was actually up late reading up on some things that you guys brought up. I'm like, oh, I've been in this for so long, and you still brought up some things I don't know, which is wonderful. So one thing that we talked about a little bit, and I think it's really important to share here, what sort of skills salespeople and marketing people should have. So we talked a lot about passion, and if you can try to recapture that from our conversation the other night, because I think that's very important, especially because we have some startup people here. And what I've seen too is if you are a developer or someone with a great startup idea, and now you want to go around and pitch this and raise some investment, right? You have to be passionate about that, and you have to express that, and it kind of goes back to sales, and it kind of goes around in circle, that from the very beginning of having a product idea all the way through, now it's like a third life cycle of this product. You still have to continue to sell with that same all of it is sales in other words, right? So yeah. Marko, you want to go first?
Yeah, actually, when you asked what's the number one skill that you need, for me it's curiosity, and you know, I would like to be far more curious than I am. I think you can actually learn to a certain degree, so it's not something that you're necessarily born with, but if you're self-aware that you're not curious enough, and then you can work on it. And you know, I started working on it like 6 months ago, and it really helps. Just when I thought I was curious, but then just take it to the next level, and then to the next level, and then to the next level, and curiosity helps you with a number of things. First, you're curious about the customer, the market, etc. So that that helps you develop a better product. With salespeople, that makes a tremendous difference, because what happens to probably every marketer on the planet is salespeople come and they want these magic documents. Just make me this brochure, or make me the data sheet, or whatever. And if you just do what they ask you to because they had a question from the customer and they didn't know the answer, or you tell them, oh, it's somewhere on on a shared drive, there is a PDF, it doesn't help you. When you ask them, why do you need it? And just ask the 5 whys, and that's it's a very common strategy. You will get to the essence of it, and it helps you build the relationship, because then you can really deliver what they actually need, not the magic document that they said. There are probably more implications of curiosity, but to me, curiosity would be number one. But I'll let Jure talk about passion. But I have a reply about passion as well.
In terms of the passion, as you said, the people who sells the product, he needs to understand, and the product needs to be passionate. When you go to the customer, if you go just like that, we talked about the movie The Wolf from the Wall Street. On the end, the guy said, "Sell me this pen," and there was this guy sitting like this. This is a pen you can write with, and he went to another one. You need to be really passionate. You need to say, "Hey, I sell this good product. It does that and that." When we go for example, it's a startup for us. When we go selling our substrate, which you can take to Middle East, you put it underground, and you can save 50% of water for irrigation. So you save energy, water. The plants are looking nice, and so on. You need to be passionate, because if you go to the Arabs, they like the people to be living with the product. So if you are passionate, not maybe the first time, the second, the third, but after the third time, they see you that you are still passionate about the same thing. They will believe you and they will buy the product. It takes a bit of time, but always, from the first to the last time, you need to be passionate. If you are not, then just dismiss the sales. The sales guy who is not passionate will not sell anything. So it's important to be passionate. You need to be curious, because you need to know everything about the product. So you need to, if you don't know, you go back and you investigate. And this is all about, you need to be passionate. You need to see what will be the future bringing. So you try to find things for the future in your product. And then when you go to the customer, you say, this is our product now, but we are developing this, and we are developing this, and these are the trends where we are going. So you are not selling just the product, you're selling your company, your ideas, your entrepreneurship, and this is all about passion and curiosity, I think.
And to add to this passion, I think the thing that made you laugh was when I said, passion it's important, but then it's kind of like we're 100 people at NiceLabel, and this 100 people were not born under the barcode labeling star. It's like it's not put into your cradle when you get born. So,
when you were little, you're like, I really want to do this in my life. Want to be an astronaut and also I
don't recall, when I was a kid, of drawing barcodes. But you don't need to be passionate about this specific thing, or insulation material in your case. But so, for example, a thing that I'm passionate about is productivity, and I know that with our software solutions, we really help people and companies be more productive at work in this certain narrow segment of labeling. But to some people it is very important, so important that they pay us $500,000 for a project, right? So this is the type of passion. And there is another word that I would actually prefer to use is, you have to be hungry for it. And you can be just hungry to win and to succeed. And I had this last week. We had a sales kickoff, so all salespeople came from Seattle to Tokyo, and I was discussing with one of the American regional managers, and she's great. She's very successful, and do you have a beer? And she says, you know what? I only grew 87% last year. I'm like, sorry, Maggie, but it's like 87%. You know, it's not like peanuts. And I mean, her quota is $2 million. You know, and which is quite a lot for a salesperson. Yeah. But she was like, yeah, but you know, Jamie grew 180%. 180. Okay, well, you'll do better next year. But you know, this hunger for, you know, to be really good, because that drives you, and then the customers can feel it really, for sure.
And if I recall, now that you brought up some names, now I feel like I'm in a courtroom. Now you opened this door, I can use it for the next.
Box.
You brought up Jamie. You said something about at your company there's this, for salespeople there's this training, right? And it's standard for everybody, so they come and they get trained and they learn. And then there's this guy that does 180%, who actually looked at that material and personalized it and said, oh, I got to do things my way. He connects with customers. Am I correct in
Yeah. So we actually, you know, he used to be a sales manager at one of our partners. So we sell a lot through channel partners, not directly to companies, but we have both, right? Both models. And he used to work there, so he's used to creating his own materials and PowerPoints and so on. And you know, we always ask him, can you just pass it through marketing, and so that we, you know, correct the spelling mistakes and fix the colors and that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't remember exactly what I said that night, but it's great to see. So he gets feedback and something that we can then all learn and multiply, and that's very important, you know, because salespeople are usually, you know, they're very self-driven. They go their own way, and yeah, maybe the thing that I said was once I went on a sales call together with him. So it was a webinar go-to-meeting with a customer. And when I saw him deliver that presentation and how obvious it was, how well he knows the market and the potential pains of the customer, it was like, oh my God, you know, that's completely different if I just, you know, I think of something as a marketer and give you a PowerPoint and then, you know, deliver it. It can be dry, but I learned so much from that, and other salespeople learned from that. And so yeah, you need to get this feedback from salespeople. That's
maybe one point which just came up to my mind. So we are still, as a startup, so we are not investing a lot into the people yet, but we are. So we will in the next few months. But we are a small bunch of people doing a bit of developing, marketing, business development, product development. And we have people who are supporting us in certain markets. So we are a bunch of people in the mid-50s and a bunch of people around 25, 35. But I think we also had one business meeting at the beginning of the year here in Bled. And then I said, hey, just share whatever you have, because this will inspire the others. And we are actually a group, and there were a couple of relatively new ones into the business, and a couple of us who are already now 2 or 3 years. And what we have, we are really all passionate. So we had a really nice building with the green roof in Mallorca. So perfect. We installed it, it was green, it was unbelievable. After 2 months, the roof was dying. I said, it's not possible. The guy who is 25 in Spain, he said, unbelievable. It worked wherever we did it, but this is the best project we did. It's dying. I said, it cannot be. So something was wrong, whether somebody did not irrigate or whatsoever, and he was really down. I said, for sure we will solve it. And then last Sunday, for the weekend, he was at Mallorca, and he came back. And in the evening on Sunday, he was sending picture on WhatsApp, because we have all the groups on WhatsApp and Viber and Snapchat. He was sending pictures. It was raining, so now it's green. You know what they did? They actually cut down the irrigation because they need to use the water for something else, and they forgot to plug it in. But when he was sending pictures, and smileys and stuff, and then he called me at Sunday in the evening. He was so passionate. And I was yesterday coming back from Netherlands with my product development lady. She's doctor of agronomy and canal insulation. And she said, you know, when I have seen, she said to me, you know, I was so happy. On Sunday evening, we got all this picture, and I said, yes. And my husband asked me, what's it? What is it? And she said, I'm so happy because we know that works, and it works. So it's really passion going around the entire group. You know, doesn't matter. It's 25 or 50. Doesn't matter. So you need to enable, and this is what you do by just sharing always the enthusiasm and trying to solve the issues, not the problems, challenges. So there's always a way to do it. Just you don't, you know, and this is something what we discussed, you know, don't be afraid of failure. Because, you know, when you are developing things, you know, if you do 2 out of 10 successful, that's more than enough, or maybe 3 out of 10. So there are failures, there are successful projects, there will always be failures. Don't be afraid of them.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the idea of really defining what it is that your product, what value your product brings to the market, right? And having that one big thing or one thing that distinguishes you is often good enough, right? So it would be good if you can think of some marketing strategies that you specifically use at your companies. If you can think of a story that is a good story to tell in terms of like, we've tried this, we failed, tried something different, worked differently, you know, so different results and success at the end. Marko, anything you want to start with?
I can't explain everything in many details, the story that I told you, because there's appears to be a camera on, just the comparative information. But the one thing, so as Jure said earlier, you know, you don't need to be the best at everything and win on every single project and feature. You have to be good enough on most features and stand out somewhere. That's very important. And I think what you're asking is, so we had this story. We have a competitor. They're the biggest. They're the biggest in the industry, right? They, you know, their marketing budget just for events is bigger than our complete marketing budget, including for everything, you know, including human resources. So they have a lot of money that they can throw in, and they, in the past, they used to beat us up all the time. You know, they were 10 times more expensive, and every single project, when we went head to head, we lost. We were cheaper. We thought we were very good, but you know, they just won everything. So we started looking at them, what they're doing, and we. You know, they played the same. We figured out they played the same card every time. You know, that they asked the customer. They knew what their strength was. They knew what their weakness was, and they said that when they knew we were also in the game. It was like, let's do this test, and we failed every single time. So then we fixed that, and our performance on that feature got over. You know, it was better. So they don't play that card anymore because they lose now. But we do. And so a couple of months ago, we lost a project against them on some sausage company, it was quite funny. And what we did was, we asked the salespeople, why did you lose? And it was like, it was for a partner. We got in too late. And we had a demo, but couldn't prepare very well, etc. But what we did then was the curiosity thing, and we went to the customer, and said, "Okay, why did you choose them?" And they told us one specific thing where the competitor was just like more confident. It looks like with them it's really easy, and with us it's like they were unsure. So we then went and fixed that, and we developed something. We actually outsourced it because it wasn't part of the product. And on the next, 2 weeks later probably, we just had this thing developed overnight. The night before there was the presentation, and we had the presentation at another company, 5 times bigger deal, and we do the demo, and we explain the customer what's going on. There is a server in Slovenia, they're in the US, and data is going up and down with SAP integration, etc. And then they do the print. It was a performance test, and it was like, bzz, they hear the printer immediately. And somebody screamed from that conference room from the customer, that wasn't real. Like, that's not possible. It cannot work. But because we fixed the things that were important to that other customer, and now, we don't want the competitors to know what we did.
Censorship here.
Yes. No, but it's the lesson and the strategy is, look at your strengths, look at their strengths, because you have competitors everywhere, right? And find a weakness in their strength. And what we did was, so now the cards that we play, we look at the thing that they said were their strength, the technology and how it works, and it's all native and blah blah blah, and we explain how, why that technology is bad. We don't say they are bad, but like, you have 5 moving parts. There is risk, there is delays, and our solution is 1 moving part. Input, output, bang, done. It's fast, and we can prove it.
Overall, what you said here kind of plays into this Agile methodology that, for example, software development companies use, where they go to the customer, they build something fast, put it out there, go to the customer, get feedback, fail, go again, and it's this constant, really iterative loop.
But the important part, the operative thing, is go to the customer. Don't just build and build and build and build and build, but go to the customer, and you will get shut down. They'll say, like we heard it was like, why would I need that? And I was like, okay.
Jure, you have stories to add?
Maybe I will just go on with this part. When you said go to the customer, so important is that you go to the customer before even doing something. I think this is the most important thing, because then you learn what your customer, what your competitor is offering, and this is also one of the part which is important. So when we started as a startup with green roofs, we went to the customer and they said, okay, why are you better? And they said, because of that. They said, what kind of performance is green roof giving to my building and to the environment? Then we said, okay, there is CO2 emission, there's dust particles. That's why we have Ljubljana fog all the time, and dust particles. And then it's energy performance because heat is not coming in, so let's air conditioning. I said, yeah, but this is in general. What else? And we knew that our performance is much better, but we were not able to show it. So it took us 2 years to test with Slovenian University, to test real performance and develop a tool, which is not yet an app, but it will be a tool where you actually put in some parameters of the building and the green roof, and then you just press. It takes 10 to 15 minutes because it's 25 years of climate data and performance and rains and weather changes, and then you get the report out, which is 3-pager, where we say, okay, our roof on this building in this climate, so in Washington, Singapore, will do that, and that. And then you go to the customer, you present them this, or for us, customer is also architect who is specifying the roof. You go to them and say, okay, this is the report, this is the performance. And then always they will ask you, what about competitors who use different type of substrates or the different type of plant? They say, I don't know. I mean, we know it for our roof. In general, you go on the website, it's this and that and that, but these are just general statements, so different. If you're here in Slovenia or in Abu Dhabi or in Washington, it's totally different. So you go there, and we know that this is 2-year project. If somebody wants to have it, they will need to do 2-year development and testing in order to do something similar. So you have immediately 2-year advantage. You go there, we have it, so you're creating demand for more data. And then you are 2 years ahead of the competition. And this is really important, because you go to the market, which is already established with the competitors, you have better product, but you need just to give them something else. So, and this was, for example, for the architects. When you go to the installers who are doing it, you need to find something else. But you try to find something which will block your competitors on certain ways, so they cannot. And then this is basically a blue ocean for us, because you are in red ocean fighting on price and a bit of differences. We create a blue ocean, which will be blue ocean for us for 2 or 3 years, and then we need to already now to search for something new, which will create additional barrier to the competitor. So it's ongoing process. You should not stop. Don't be satisfied with something. It's ongoing, constant learning process, developing, entering into the new subgroups or subcategories or new development. So it's ongoing process. Yes, the basic is here, but you need to engineer and develop and market. So that's
So we've covered a lot of things. Anybody has any questions? You might be the crowd that's afraid to interrupt, so I'll lead you on. All right.
I have a question. I'm Andre, by the way. I wanted to ask you, like, once you start like pivoting a new product and searching for it, how many iterations you did? Like, how many talks to customers? Like, I know it's like a process where I probably think that you didn't like nail it on the first time. Like, or how many iterations you did, like, and tries?
Million. Really, you talk to competitors. You go to the fair, you talk to your competitors. You talk to the partner. You learn every single time. You learn something new. Today is this, tomorrow is that. It's really constant learning, constant. So you need to keep on talking to the customer. The first product we developed, we thought it's perfect. Yes, it was perfect for Netherlands because it's raining all the time. We didn't consider, Spain or Sevilla where it doesn't rain for 4 months. So you need to develop a special irrigation system. So it's constant learning. We had a very good case in Middle East. We set up we also do landscaping, so saving water. We did a nice landscaping, with our system. They usually use 50 centimeters of soil. We use only 10 centimeters and our material and plants. And then he said, okay, you just need to water like this and this, so 50% less watering, and it will work, And as long as our guy was monitoring, it was working. And then, our guy said, that's perfect. So we delivered the first material to the real project. They called us after 1 month and said, hey, all grass is yellow, so it's not working. So I said, no, it's not possible. I mean, it's working, even on a slope, so it should work. And then we went, of course, there, and then I said, it's really ugly. And I said, so did you do exactly the same watering as we proposed every third day, and only this much water? I said, no, we did it as always, every day. So of course, they were cooking the plants. And if you don't talk to the customer, it's not the product development, it's the guide you need to do for the people who are used to do same things, for 30 years they have done it like that. You come there, you offer them saving of money, water, and consequently money and better aesthetics. If you don't give them the clear guidance, you will fail. Even the product is perfect. So this is maybe one of the parts to consider. So constant learning.
Sounds like what I gathered from this is that you don't have this moment when you go and say, okay, now we're going to go out and learn what our customers think, and then let's sit in some meeting and discuss this. It's not the organized iteration or anything like that, but it's a constant, probably have some methods where you have this constant feed, and then it happens organically when people just sort of have to come together and say, okay, we need to pivot, we need to make some bigger strategic moves here.
Yeah, I mean, we have a very simple process. We don't have anything fancy. Yes, we have our CRM system, so we collect some data about requirements, but it's very simple. We have a team of few people from around the world working on this. We have a simple Excel chart. Everyone needs to fill if there is something new or some demands coming in from the customer, and then we just say, okay, this is the demand from this market and this market. We cluster it, and then we decide who will be running or overlooking the development on this topic. So it's very straightforward. These are the requirements. This is the cluster of the requirements. You will be responsible for that period, and then it's development. We meet on sometimes on a daily basis, sometimes on 3-week basis. it's just as pragmatic, as simple as possible. I mean, we are still small business unit, so it's quite easy. So it's much easier than in a big company.
Yeah, when you
Despite
grow
big.
and the spreadsheet's not working, D.Labs can build something for you that works better.
And I agree. You know, one thing we did, so we did some functionality that's very specific for pharmaceutical companies. And, you know, we went and read the documentation, and it was like, it was like my worst nightmare when I was still the product manager. And then we went and we built it and we tried to sell it to Krka, so the local pharmaceutical company here. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's fine, but we need also this. And we had no idea what they were talking about. And so we asked, and they told us, so they were, very friendly and the early adopter kind of style. And then we took this functionality to a much bigger American medical devices company. And we won because of it, because we understood the customer so well. And so for now, no other competitor has this functionality. And it's not, it's not perfect. But this is the kind of like incremental, you build something small just to, kind of like an MVP, but then you take it to a customer and they will tell you, oh, but you need also this and this. But you have to be careful not to build it just based on one customer, right? So, I mean, here, for us, it was easier because the revenue was also good from the Krka project, and we knew there's a big market for it, so we can afford it. But I would suggest try and speak to, when you get like 3 or 5 same requests, then you're onto something. But when you get it from one customer, validate it again, turn on the curiosity and call somebody else, because otherwise, you can't build the same things for Saudi Arabia and for the penguins, right? It won't work. Which might happen, it's normal. It sounds funny when I say it like this, but
although there are some penguins in Dubai. So.
Yeah, so I heard.
Maybe one thing also when you ask, how to collect the data, it's, we all use LinkedIn. There's a million of forums on all different topics. It's quite easy. Do the survey. You use Survey Monkey or whatever. You do the survey, go to the post-it, talk to administrator of specific forum. It's nice if you are as a person, not as a company. Yeah, anyway, you need to be as a person part of the forums. Ask your administrator if you can do the survey. In 90% they will say, yeah, no problem. They will not even put you into the marketing part, but on the main thing, you do the survey, and if you get 30 or 40 answers in 1 month, of course you need to then tweet it a bit and ask them to do the survey. And they really tell you everything because they are looking for something new. Mm-hmm. They are proud of sharing, what they know. So go to the professionals, ask them. They will enter the survey for sure.
Yeah. In case you don't have another question right now, I have another question. Anybody? Okay. So since you both are global guys, you work globally. There's a wealth of experience there and learning that you've gone through. So it would be good to share with our audience what it is that makes Slovenians slightly different or the same as Western Europeans or Americans, and if you have any kind of advice or any sort of learning you'd like to share, that'd be good. Marko, you want to start?
Yeah, I'd really recommend, go out from Slovenia. That doesn't mean to Croatia or to Greece when you go on holidays with your kids, but the world is different out there. So take a backpack and go traveling, and you can go even if you have kids. Just try it. One thing that I see in Slovenia is this fear of failure is like we're born with it, and then we're raised with it. So I call it here, it's on steroids. Yeah. and I know, I have a very high fear of failure. But what I see with my colleagues, so I mentioned Maggie, the saleswoman from the US. I mean, she's not, you tell her, she was in Ljubljana last week, and I think she was trying to sell our products to somebody that was selling chicken wings. They were discussing, and because this guy was Canadian, and she was like, "Oh, I work for this company," and blah blah blah. I was, "Oh, okay, you don't." But it's like go, and I see this, with also many of our senior people are from the UK. When they first come here, it's a culture shock for them. It's like, they went like 100 years back in time, and there's like, oh my God, these are cowboys, and I'm not gonna work here. But then they embrace this diversity, which is again very important for any company. Embrace diversity. If somebody's different, also in our department, I know that we are very different personalities, and that's great, because otherwise you have this single, narrow focus, which is a very bad thing. So open up your mind. That's one of the best things you can do for your career, and do things that are, mind-opening. Traveling is certainly one of them. I mean, both of us like to travel, and personally, even if you don't need to travel on business, who cares, right?
Just get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. So that would be
your big advice.
Yeah, I'm sure I have many more, but
and we'll catch you after.
But we have limited time. Right?
I can just reconfirm, that you need to go out. It's totally other world there. So you go to the west, even if you go to the east, but east is, east. When I think about East Europe, is very much similar, unfortunately, the mentality to what we are doing. So everybody is, first of all, they ask you, so what should we do? You're not here for say, I'm not here to tell you what you should do. You should do it on your own. And this is not happening. And this is totally vice versa in when you go to the West. If you go to US, you give them the product. I just had a guy who's actually a Dutch guy, but living 18 years in US, close to Washington, actually in Maryland. And we were sitting yesterday. He came on Monday. So I said, okay, first we go, have you ever eaten in a Serbian restaurant? He said, no. And when I'm in US, we always go nice eating, whatever. So we went to a Serbian restaurant, had a nice cevapcici and prebranec and so on, and then we had a bit of discussion. And on Tuesday, we had a team meeting with him. And the guy, after discussion we had on Monday, the guy on Tuesday, he came to the office and said, hey, I have 6 points, 6 potentials we need to develop. And this is the priority. It was like, just like that, because he is entrepreneurial. He is 50, but he's entrepreneurial. He was just banging and said, and then we went through, and I think my bunch of people in the office, they are really open. We were really looking for the new opportunity. But this guy was, this was typical example of what average Slovenian is not. Average, I don't know that they are not. But this is the typical point. He knew exactly what he wants to achieve with this price. So we went through all the points. But on the end, when he left, he said, and there is another Dutch guy also in his company, Richard, he takes care of logistics and marketing. He said, but you are a really good bunch of people here in Slovenia. Our Richard, he always says, it's unbelievable. I ask, I get answer in 1 hour. So there are, very positive things in Slovenia. People are working hard, trying to do the best. The only thing is the fear of failure. I think this is what determines us all. Or the old education, when you were taught you need to do that or you should not do that. And this is not in the West, in the majority of the Western countries.
Yeah, this with education, I had this theory, like, in Slovenia, our generation, we were born and raised in Yugoslavia, and it was a communist country, and there was a picture of Tito in every classroom, and we were told to believe this one single truth. There was one political party, there was just one truth about the world, and then maybe you even went to like a Catholic school in the afternoon or to church on Sunday, which is also quite common. And they told you have to believe this one truth. And both in school and in church, you're like, God forbid, or Tito forbid that you do something else, and you're you're punished, and it's a sin if you do something else and think something else. And I think this got so ingrained in us, so I really hope the younger generation who didn't experience this at least from two sides, that it's going to be a little bit better with them. But even for us, it's not lost. I mean, at least the two of us are good examples that try to fight it.
We believe in you. Great. Anybody has any questions? Anything else you're curious about? Curiosity. Big theme here.
And challenge us, please. Are we talking rubbish?
It's all sales, but since you tackle B2B sales, how do you shorten your sales cycle, or how do you handle customers brought in?
It's hard because to say like make the sales cycle shorter, because that's kind of hard, because we're in the buyer's world, right? Today, the customers are more informed than ever, and you have great salespeople that can push the project forward, but sometimes it depends on the customer so much that it's hard. But one thing that's important, and what we can do, especially as product marketers, is to really understand the customer buying process. And we're just in the process of just taking this a couple of levels further in our company, and just see, okay, how do they research, who's involved, how do they make decisions, how do they compare different vendors, who makes the decision, and all that. So that when you understand their buying process and the buyer personas involved and the titles involved, then you can drip them content and give the salespeople tools like, okay, you had this presentation, now send them this PDF or report or ebook or whatever, and move that faster. So if you know what's next, then it's easier to push, right? Because otherwise it's just, if the salesperson just call, okay, I gave you the presentation, when can I get the order? That won't speed up the process.
And maybe one point which is sort of a backdoor approach is when you go, I don't know how many really top professional buyers are in Slovenian companies, because I don't do a lot with Slovenian companies. So the professional buyer only essence is to get the best product for the cheapest price, which is in theory not possible. Yeah. You can have a sufficient product with a cheap price or a best product for a good price. So what you need to do is send your technical guy to the technical guy of the B2B client, so the client in the other company. They need to discuss. He needs to persuade the technical guy that will come to the buyer and say, listen, this is the product you need, or we need to have, so you need to buy. And this is the backdoor approach. Don't go. The sales guy wants to sell, get the best price for the product. The purchasing guy will just squeeze the poor sales guy to the limit. So use the backdoor approach. And this is actually marketing, the technical product managers. This is what you need to do. Otherwise, it's every time you go there, it's what kind of rebates can you get? I say, we will do a bit more, but you need to do as a big discount. So in the end, you sell more, you do more, you have more logistic costs, you have more work to do, and at the end, the profit is on the same level.
And I know our sales guys also have this concept. So when they first qualify the customer, and if they don't have a sponsor at the company, for example, somebody that will make a decision and has a budget, they will not pursue that opportunity. It will get back to marketing and nurturing, but they'll just they won't waste time on the tire kickers. The tire kickers are those people when you go and sell your car and they just kick your tires and ask the price, but they don't even have money, and they have a car and are not interested in buying it, but they're just tire kickers. So don't waste your time on the tire kickers would be another suggestion.
Maybe one question to the audience. I'm really curious, if I can. So how many, you mentioned the buying personas. When you have a company, there's a couple of people who can be decision makers. how in depth you understand, what are the requirements of the buyer, of the product developer, or the technical guy in the company, of the marketeer, of the sales guys of the company. Do you know that? Do you do your job upfront so that you know what you need to give to specific person? Do you know what needs to be offered to the buyer or to the technical developer or the product? If you sell to the production, and we are all selling to sort of a production, do you know what the guy in the production or the head of production is? Do you have this? Do you do that?
Anybody?
Well, my experience, as you mentioned, that technical guy is talking to a technical guy, that was not working at all. Because, no, really, because the other technical guy, he just was thinking, oh my god, I will have so much work to do now. It's his territory, it's really fancy. So this approach was not working. So maybe if you have any other suggestions.
Yeah, fire the guy. So.
The customer.
The customer didn't want to do it. But you need, you need marketing. You need to have marketing to show them that actually, if he does that, he will be less work, and he will go to his manager and say, listen, I brought it in, so that's why we are more successful. You need to make them understand that because he will work with you, he will be the one to say, I did it. So this is very important.
Yeah, you raised something very, very important. This is really good, because one of the things that we don't think enough about is the value proposition for each kind of buyer and the stage where they are. And I think this is what Jure was trying to say. So what you need is, so it's not the problem that the two technical guys spoke to each other, but I think to fix your issue would be to understand the technical guy at your company, and then think about, how can I make this guy successful? What do I need to do? What does he need to do to get promoted, and help him achieve that? Yeah, how will he be the rock star in his company because of that? And then just craft a message that will resonate with him in this regard. Don't say, buy my product and you'll get promoted. So, be a bit more subtle. But that can make a huge difference.
Maybe an example.
And then it really doesn't matter who delivers the message.
Exactly. Maybe an example how we did it in Germany. We started with this green roofing. Germany is really tough market. It's the toughest when it comes to green infrastructure. So the cities you see on the pictures are the cities of the future. A lot of green walls and everything is green. We were with new innovative system on the market. So it was really hard to do it. So we went to the roofer who has been doing a lot of projects in Berlin area and a bit wider. And I said, just try. If you don't believe, just try. If you're not satisfied, we will, compensate whatsoever so that you will not. Of course, the system is a bit more expensive, but you will see the benefits. And I said, okay. I said, if it's not true, we will compensate so that it will not be more expensive. So there was a 500 square meter project in Berlin. So I said, okay, how many people do you need? I said, 4. And usually 4 people for one day, it's more than enough. So for our system. So they were going up to the roof. We delivered the full system. They started, and at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the roof was basically done. The only thing that was missing was just the green part, and we delivered these special plants in a roll, the same as you have for the lawn. And they just stopped and said, why are we stopping? Yeah, because we have 2 days to do the job. Because normally with the normal system, they need 2 days to do the job. So they went home, came another day, so next day, just to do this in 2 hours. They could do the entire roof till 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon the first day. So the only thing we had to do, we called the project manager who allowed us to do that. I said, listen, you know that? I said, no, they didn't tell me. So I said, there is 1 day enough for 500 square meters of green roof. So basically we gave them 1 day extra free of charge. So they could do much more in a 2 day than just one roof, which means we brought down the installation cost and labor costs so much down that we can sell material so the system a bit higher. So it's experience, you know. He was now the guy, and he's now buying everything from us. So just from day 1 to day 2. So
Great.
yeah, make them successful, and of course give them to the boss and say, hey, we have done this. So
do the same does the same apply to like the sales representatives or resellers, in a sense of how to encourage them to push your products?
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes resellers don't have competitors in their box or whatever. They have like different products, and sometimes they're interested in pushing yours or something.
Yeah, that's a great question, and because you know we had big problems because we were so passive in the past when it comes to the sales channel. So there's another competitor I didn't mention today, an American company, and they're over distributed, right? So you try to find new resellers, they are already there. So you have to kick them out, and it's hard because they're cheaper, you know, they're easy to sell, they have free support and blah, blah, blah. So they're really hard to push out when they already are at a reseller, and reseller invested into learning about that product. And, you know, they don't want to have two similar products. So what do? You try to differentiate on your product. That's number one, but that will not win the case. It's what helps with us is that we tell them, we explain to them what's the value of working with us. So we don't tell them, okay, you're going to sell our product and this is going to be the margin. You know, you can't win with that, and our competitors have better discounts, right? So when we went there and we told them, okay, this is the product, then you can make this kind of solutions which are, you know, differentiates your company, so you can be more successful than your competitors, and then you can also sell this hardware and that sort of thing. So we came from, you know, trying to compete with a 500 euro product, and, you know, we show them that each deal is, instead of like 100 euro margin for them, it can be 5,000 euro in revenue. When you just think about everything together, and we'll give you a lead, and this lead is not worth just the 100 or 200 euro margin that you get with our product, but it's this and this and that. It's a customer for lifetime that will buy other products from you. And they're like, okay, that's a different story, because we help them improve their business. Exactly. And that's the value proposition we have for the channel. And you also need the same for the salespeople. The channel is even, you know, it's more difficult because our resellers, you know, they sell our kind of software and then different kinds of hardware. So it's really the battle for their mind, and they, you know, they can earn a lot by selling hardware, higher prices, margins are higher, etc. So we tell this, like, how we explain this to our salespeople is, you know, our reseller has a bag, like a backpack, and they have the whole set of solutions in there. Now we need to make sure when they open this backpack, we're on top of that, you know, when they sell to their customers. It's hard, but, you know, you have to think of a story, and again, you know, curiosity will help you get there, and talk to them, you know, call. We learned the most, like a couple of years ago, I made the research, and I called 10 resellers, you know, different kinds, and I asked different questions, and I started getting the same answers. And it's like, okay, you know, we're onto something. We need to change, and ask them to be brutally honest. It's amazing when you really ask them sincerely, you know, tell me, why don't you, and we did this. We asked the big companies, why don't you sell our products? And they told us directly. It wasn't great to hear that. It's like, okay, you know, we're making some big mistakes, and then you can fix them, and then go and find 100 others and sell it to them.
Maybe for the resellers, one of the points I learned also, that for the resellers, it's all about cash margin. Cash margin, but not on the product, as you said, but, you know, if you are offering something that will either lower their cost of operation, either improve the footprint on the market. I mean, this is more valuable for them than just the margin in percentage on euro on certain product. because in the end is the cash in your pocket that matters. Whether you need to do, sell more expensive products only to 10 people than cheaper product to 100. On the end, the margin can be much higher at the product which is much more expensive.
And with us, what happened was, the conversations with resellers were just, oh, okay, what's my discount? And then it's like, okay, no, sorry, with your competitor, I earn more money. But when we told them this story about, the whole business and differentiation of their company and the whole, like, 5,000 euro solution instead of, like, 500 euro product, nobody, they ask what's my discount, what's my share, but it's not an argument over that anymore. They're hooked. And some are not. Some are just like, no, I'll keep pushing my boxes, not interested, and that's fine.
What's the relation in that sense between the marketing and sales? How can marketing really help sales to reach resellers?
Yeah, another great question. It's, because one of the things is, if we're just in marketing in our office and we invent stuff and then push it to sales, I call this throwing over the wall, right? And developers, you develop something and throw it over to marketing and like make your brochures, and we make the brochures and throw it over the wall to sales, and they go there and deliver the brochures and nobody buys anything. This doesn't work. So you need to work hand in hand as much as possible, and I would encourage, go on the sales calls together with them. Maybe the marketer does the presentation instead of the sales guy, and then you'll see how hard of a job is it, and then you understand the customer, you deliver better tools for them, and this builds the relationship much better. And the other thing is informal. Last week we had the salespeople here. My liver was already demanding bankruptcy, but it was well worth it. I mean, my relationship with most salespeople is just so much better because of it.
So I think this would be a really good place to stop and wrap it up. And I'm sure you have a few more questions. And I would love to allow it, but we're kind of running over time. But what I'd like to do is invite you all to hang out with us a little bit. Let's continue our conversations. There's also a sign-up sheet if you'd like to join our product Facebook group. So it's right on this table. So another thing is, let's go to Dubop, which is a bar across the street, and get a beer. I'm totally ready for it. So let's keep talking. If you thought that this was valuable information, please share it with your friends. Invite to our next ones. Dusan and I are working hard to bring more of these conversations and more frequently to you. Thank you for coming. These two guys were amazing. I hope you're just as inspired as I am, and give them a round of applause.